We bought our Coca-Cola, for example, in 1988 and 89 on this stock at a price of $11 a share, which as low as 9, as high as 13, but it averaged about $11. And it'll earn, we'll say, most estimates are between 230 and 240 this year. So that's under 5 times this year's earnings, but it was a pretty good sized multiple back when we bought it. It isn't a multiple of today's earnings that is primarily determinant of things. It's the future that counts. It's like what I wrote there, what Wayne Gretzky says, to go where the puck is going to be, not where it is. So the current multiple interacts with the reinvestment of capital and the rate at which that capital is invested to determine the attractiveness of something. Now, we are affected in that valuation process to a considerable degree by interest rates, but not by whether they're 7.3 or 7.0 or 7.5. But I mean, we will be thinking much differently if their long-term rates are 11% or 5%. But we don't have any magic multiples in mind. We're thinking we want to be in the business that 10 years from now is earning a whole lot more money than it is now, and that we will still feel good about the prospects of the business at that time. That's the kind of business we're trying to buy all of, and that's the kind of business that we try and buy part of. And then sometimes we buy others too. There's a general framework that you can call a formula in our mind, but we also don't kid ourselves that we know so much about the specifics that we would actually make a calculation in terms of the equation. When we bought Coke in 88 and 89, we had this idea about what we thought the business would do over time, but we never reduced it to making a calculation. Maybe we should, but we don't think there's that kind of precision to it. We think it's the right way to think in a general way, and we think if you think that you can do it to pinpoint it, you're kidding yourself, and therefore we think that when we make a decision, there ought to be such a margin of safety, it ought to be so attractive that you don't have to carry it out to 3 decimal places.